I am Marcus Blake with That Nerd Show. We're here at the 2018 EarthX Film Festival. We're talking with Louis again, who we spoke with last year over about his film Game Changers. And we're also speaking with James, one of the producers and the subject of the film. So we got to dive right into it. I just found this very interesting, you know, being a former athlete and kind of changing your lifestyle. Game Changers. How did this come about?
Well, basically, I train elite government agencies in hand-to-hand combat, Navy SEALs, US Marshals, and I also fought in the UFC, and I got injured. And I thought, well, what can I do with my time that's productive? I'll start looking into nutrition for optimal recovery and performance. And that's when I came across a study about the Roman gladiators. And they unearthed 68 full gladiator skeletons in Ephesus, Turkey. And the analysis of the bones showed that they were eating almost exclusively plants. And I thought, well, that can't be true. You've got to eat meat and other animal products to be strong and healthy. And so I started doing more and more research and realized that what I thought I knew about nutrition was a complete lie.
So, I mean, all the years of training and everything, I mean, just kind of a complete double take and changing everything. I mean, being in the Army, being a former, Army guy myself, it's always hard when you're doing that intense training. And then you get used to it. Did you find this more difficult?
No, not really. And I didn't sort of jump into it, this is what I'm going to do forever. I sort of experimented.
Sure.
And I didn't do it overnight. I don't think that's difficult when you try and change overnight a habit that you're doing 3 times a day for the last 30 years.
Right.
So, gradually over time, just start incorporating more plant-based options that I really enjoyed. And so it's a learning curve, obviously, like anything else. But it's not that difficult. It's really pretty easy. Yeah.
Okay. What was the biggest challenge for you when you started this?
I think not knowing what to eat to start with. When you don't know what recipes and what to buy at the grocery store, that's pretty tricky. And so you got to start searching around for resources. What are you going to eat? But once you kind of figure that out, but that's another thing. You take it slowly. It's like, let's just do meatless Mondays. You've only got to figure out a couple of meals a week to start with.
Now, I mean, was this completely new to you? I mean, I know
I was a vegan when we started this.
Well, I know that, but I mean, in like the training and in changing the diet and stuff. I mean,
I didn't know that there was elite athletes doing it at that level. But that's when I got when James started telling me about these athletes, like the world's strongest guy carried more weight further than anybody in history, human history, recorded history. Scott Jurek running, incredible distances, like 167 miles in one day. Like that's like 6.5 marathons in one day on a plant-based diet. I thought there's something to it. This is it's an interesting story. And then I started thinking I'd just love to tell that, his story, because it's so fascinating. Usually in our movies, there's usually one central character.
Sure.
And talking about a big subject. And here we had James Wilks, who was, an ultimate fighter, telling us that story. This story that sort of flips the way you think, a healthy diet on its head.
Right.
I mean, it kills it. I mean, it's once you see the film tonight.
We are going to see the film now.
Okay, well, you'll know exactly.
I'm still a little afraid, but at the same time, I'm very intrigued.
You will not be the same person tomorrow morning. I guarantee you're going to wake up and you're going to say, what the hell was I doing with my life all this time? I can't believe it. How old are you?
You mean, I actually just turned 40 this year.
Me too. Oh.
Yeah, all right. So you mean those 200 push-ups I do every day, I can do more?
Just try to hit him with that. Take it away.
No, when I was in the Army, I joined the artillery. I wasn't about doing hand-to-hand. I was like firing from a distance. That's why, So, have you, let me rephrase this. Do you rethink how, like UFC fighters, hardcore athletes should train now after doing this?
It's not so much about the training, it's really about nutrition.
Okay.
From athletes down to people who just want to sort of lose some belly fat. A lot of people think that it's about exercise, and exercise is certainly important for your health.
Right.
But in terms of like weight loss and athletic performance, nutrition is also extremely key. So.
Okay.
In fact, weight loss, nutrition is far more important than exercise itself.
But I mean, there's, when you talk about nutrition, there's obviously diets that if you're a boxer to a UFC fighter to, Navy, everything. I mean, I figure there's something more that everybody can learn with their nutrition that,
This is fundamental, though. This will change like a whole category out of the grocery store that you won't even look at anymore. Seriously. It's a game changer. It's not just like a cute name for a movie. It's going to change your life.
If it changes my checkbook, I'm all in.
It will. Well, healthcare. I mean, that's the biggest thing. Like I'm not a professional athlete, but
sure.
Heart disease and diabetes are the number one killers in America, and the number one cause of that is eating meat.
Was there one particular thing that was the hardest to give up when you started doing this?
I think eggs for me were the last to go. I used to enjoy eggs, but now the sound of it doesn't sound even that good to me anymore. So.
Embryos. You like embryos.
Nice. All right. Well, Louis got a nerdy question last year, so we get to do it with you this year. We have a nerdy question every year. And the question is, if within the nerd universe, and you can apply it to the environment, if you have a weapon of choice, superpower, lightsaber, anything that you could use to help the environment, what would your weapon of choice be?
My choice would be for the people to have the understanding, and just to have full knowledge, and not for the marketing to have gotten in the way of what we believe to be true.
Okay, Louis, how about you?
What's the question?
What would be your weapon of choice from the nerd universe, and how would you apply that to the environment?
How would I apply what?
How would you apply it to helping the environment? Would you have a superpower?
Superpower? No, I'd carry James around. No. Superpower is the movies, man. I mean, because you could fight one battle just because you're right there, but if you have a movie, it's a weapon of mass destruction, I call it.
There you go. I like that answer.